Hey everyone, it's Lila here. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. What I'm about to tell you still makes my hands tremble when I think about it. My mother, Celeste, sold the seaside cottage my late grandmother left to me, not because I asked her to, not because I agreed, but so my brother, Dante, could go on some luxury escape. I remember the way she looked me square in the eyes and said, "You don't need a place to your name, Lila. You have a great career." Dante just laughed, tossing out something about needing sunshine more than I needed a roof over my head. I didn't believe it was actually real until that email came through at my office one Wednesday afternoon. A notification from the bank about a huge six-figure transfer tied to that property. My property. My stomach flipped before I even clicked it, hoping it was some terrible glitch. But when I opened the documents and saw the sale had already closed, and that my signature wasn't on anything, my breath just ceased. The cottage, the place Grandma always said was my safety net, was gone. Just like that. While Celeste and Dante were posting endless sun-splashed photos from a beach I had never seen except in their posts, I replayed every memory of that house in my mind. The laughter, the storms breaking against the windows, the night Grandma told me it would always be mine. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. I didn't let things go this time. I called my lawyer. 2 weeks later, I sent one letter with 4 simple words that changed everything. You have 48 hours. Before we go on, hit like if you've ever had to stand up for something important that everyone else assumed you'd let slide. Comment with a yellow heart if you're still rooting for the underdog. Stay with me, because what happens after this will make you question everything you thought family meant. I drove straight to Celeste's neighborhood before I even shut my laptop. My hands shook so badly on the wheel I thought I'd lose control. Part of me hoped someone would tell me it was all a mistake, that the title company messed up, that there was some clerical slip. But then I turned onto her street and saw the bright sold sign planted in front of that sweet little ranch cottage she'd been bragging about flipping for months. For a weird second I laughed, because it felt like the universe was playing a cruel joke on me, like all these sold signs around town were mocking what was taken from me. I got out of the car and raised my hand to knock on the front door, but it opened before my knuckles even met the wood. There stood Dante, barefoot, phone in hand, half-finished drink dangling from his fingers, grinning like the sun-soaked days had washed all his worries away. Pictures of him on some tropical shore glowed from the screen. Blue water, bright skies, nothing like the gray Oregon coast where I lived. "Hey sis," he said like this was normal. Like I was just dropping by for coffee. "You see the shots? Bali was insane. I really needed this reset." I pushed past him into the living room, my voice tighter than I expected. "Did Mom tell you where that money came from?" He blinked at me and shrugged. "It's family money, Lila. You don't even live by the coast. You're in your downtown loft crunching spreadsheets. You're fine." I needed a break. My jaw clenched so hard it ached. He didn't understand. He had the trip, the freedom, while she sold what my grandmother had put in my name. And then Celeste walked in. She wasn't surprised, just irritated, like I was some annoying client she had to manage. "Lila, honey," she said, phone tucked under her chin, realtor flyers in hand right from a showing. "What are you doing here in the middle of the day?" I didn't say hello. I just said it. "You sold Grandma Rosalind's cottage." Her eyes flicked over me, and in that moment I felt something older than this whole fight wash over me. She set her flyers down like she was handling business, not confronting a daughter whose world had just tilted on its axis. And then she said, in that breathless, dismissive tone only someone who's used to getting her way can muster, "Calm down. No one did anything to hurt you." I swallowed. I needed to hear that next part, but you'll have to stay tuned. What she says next changes everything, and it's not what you'd expect. Don't miss part 2. No one did anything to hurt you. That's what Celeste said to me. She stood there, flyers still in hand, her real estate blazer perfectly pressed, and acted like I was being dramatic. My chest burned. "You sold the house Grandma put in my name," I said, forcing the words out slowly. "The only thing she left me. You didn't even tell me." Celeste sighed like I was a fussy buyer who couldn't decide between granite or marble countertops. "Your grandmother left that cottage so this family would be okay," she said. "And you are okay. You work in tech. You've got savings, benefits, stability. Meanwhile, your brother," she turned toward Dante, "has been drowning," he chimed in from the couch without missing a beat. "I was burning out, Lila. You don't get it. I needed that break." "You think a break is worth more than my inheritance?" I snapped. He shrugged again, like the math made perfect sense. "You have a future either way." I didn't. I didn't know whether to scream or cry. The door to the garage swung open. I didn't even notice it at first. I was still trying to steady my breath when I heard Celeste's voice, softer now, like she was trying to soothe a child. "Lila, your brother's been in a dark place. He's struggled more than you know. And I've been drowning in debt trying to help him. The cottage was just sitting there, empty, collecting dust. Rosalind would have wanted us to survive." I shook my head, my voice trembling. "She left it to me. She told me, her words, it was my safety. My escape hatch if things ever got too hard." "That was her promise." Celeste waved her hand. "Well, I didn't forge anything. I used the power of attorney I already had. Remember when your grandmother got sick and I took care of all the paperwork? I still had the documents. I signed as her agent. Everything's legal." I stared at her. My throat tightened. "That authority ended when she died." For a second, I saw it. That flicker in her eyes. That split second of fear before she masked it with annoyance. "You're overreacting," she said. "I'll pay you back. Eventually. We're family." Dante chimed in again, now more smug. "Exactly. Why are you making this so weird? We're all just trying to get by." I looked at them both, the mom who taught me to shrink myself to keep the peace, the brother who was always the priority. I felt every sacrifice I'd made over the years pile up at my feet. "You didn't just sell a house," I said quietly. "You showed me exactly where I stand in this family." Have you ever had someone tell you to just be understanding while they took something that mattered to you? Drop a broken heart in the comments if you've ever had to choose between peace and self-respect. I turned and walked to the door, my heart pounding. Celeste called after me, her voice tight with disbelief. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To talk to someone who respects what Grandma left me," I said. "My lawyer." I didn't go straight home. I parked outside their house and sat in the quiet, watching the sold sign down the block as if it were still screaming at me. Then I remembered something. An old email. Jasmine Ortiz. Subject line: "If your family ever screws up your inheritance, you know who to call." We'd joked about it back in college. But now, it felt like a lifeline. I pulled it up, heart racing, and hit call before I could second-guess myself. She picked up by the second ring. "Hey stranger," she said. "Everything okay?" "My mom sold my grandmother's cottage," I whispered. "She used an old power of attorney. Signed it like she still had control. Gave the money to Dante and paid off her credit cards. I never signed anything." There was a pause. Then Jasmine's voice changed, like flipping a switch. "Do you have the trust documents?" she asked. "Anything your grandmother set up?" Yes. Rosalind kept everything in this ridiculous blue binder, with sticky notes and labels. "Good. Grab it. And bring the bank email. Meet me at that taco place on Burnside in an hour." We'll go through everything. In part 3, Jasmine flips open the trust, and what she finds. It turns everything into a legal time bomb. You'll want to hear exactly how this all unravels. 1 hour later, I slid into the booth across from Jasmine at that taco place on Burnside, binder in one hand, heart in the other. She looked just like I remembered her from court photos and LinkedIn, sharp navy blazer, hair pulled into a perfect twist, eyes that missed nothing. A basket of chips sat untouched between us. She reached for the blue binder immediately. "Okay," she said. "Walk me through it." I told her everything. The email, the sale, the absence of my signature. My voice kept shaking, but she didn't interrupt. Just kept scribbling on her legal pad, flipping through pages like she'd done it 1,000 times. Then she tapped a section and slid the binder toward me. "Here," she said. "This is Rosalind's living trust. See this? It names you, and only you, as the beneficiary of both the beach house and the attached investment account." My breath caught. "That means once she passed," Jasmine continued, "this trust became irrevocable. Your mother didn't just ignore your rights. She violated them." She flipped to another tab and held up the power of attorney form. "This," she said, "ended the moment Rosalind died. It's in black and white. Your mother used it to sign away something she had no authority to touch. That's not just shady. That's fraud." I stared at the neat lines of my grandmother's handwriting, her notes in the margins. "For Lila's future. Don't let anyone override this." My voice dropped to a whisper. So this wasn't just betrayal. She actually broke the law. Jasmine nodded once. She used expired legal power to sell a trust asset and funneled the money into personal debt and your brother's vacation. That's civil fraud. Maybe criminal, depending on how deep this goes. I swallowed. "What do we do?" "We send her a demand letter," she said, detailing everything, the trust terms, the expiration of the power of attorney, the sale, the misuse of funds. And we give her a deadline." "How long?" 48 hours. I blinked. "That fast?" She leaned in. "Because she's already spending it. Vacations. Credit cards. The longer we wait, the more she burns. The 48 hours sends a message. This is not a family argument. This is a legal emergency." She reached for the bank email and jotted down the transaction ID. "She has a choice," Jasmine said. "Return the funds into a neutral account or sign a legal repayment agreement backed by her assets. If she refuses, we sue." Something clicked inside me. A lock turning. I'd spent my entire life being the quiet one, the one who let it go. Not anymore. "Send the letter," I said. 48 hours. Then court. Jasmine didn't smile. Not really. But there was a spark in her eyes as she slid a letter template across the table and started typing my name into the header. Have you ever had someone push your boundaries because they thought you wouldn't fight back? If you've ever stood your ground, even when it hurt, comment below with collision. This story's just heating up. 2 weeks later, the certified letter went out. It was 3 pages of calm, calculated language, but it hit harder than any scream I'd ever wanted to let loose. It spelled out every fact: the trust, the illegal signature, the misuse, the evidence from Dante's vacation posts. At the bottom, bold and final, recipient has 48 hours to return the full amount or face immediate legal action. When Jasmine handed me the printout before hitting send on the digital version, her tone softened. "Once this goes out," she said, "you can't unring the bell." I looked at the line with the amount, the full value of the cottage, plus interest, plus attorney fees. I thought of Grandma's binder, her notes, her faith in me to protect what she left behind. "Ring it," I said. She clicked send. Celeste got the email the next morning. I was at work, sipping lukewarm coffee and staring blankly at my monitor when her name flashed across my phone. I let it ring twice before answering. Lila, what is this? She barked. Some kind of joke? A lawyer. I stayed quiet. You're threatening to sue your own mother, she snapped. This is disgusting. I sacrificed everything for you. I took a breath. You sold what didn't belong to you. You used authority that wasn't valid. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is theft. There was a pause. Then laughter, brittle and humorless. Theft? Oh, sweetheart, it's family money. Rosalind wanted that house to help us. You don't get to turn around and sue the people who raised you. No, I said. I'm asking you to return what you stole. You have 48 hours. Her voice cracked. The money's gone, Lila. Resorts don't issue refunds. The credit cards were already overdue. I can't give you back 100 grand in 2 days. I stared out the window at the gray skyline. Then you shouldn't have spent it. In part 4, Celeste pushes back. She cries. She begs. And then she crosses another line, and someone unexpected finally takes my side. Don't miss it. Celeste went quiet for a moment on the phone. Then came the switch, the part I'd lived through more times than I could count. You're really going to do this to your own mother, she whispered. Her voice cracked, like she wanted me to hear her break. Drag me into court? Ruin my credit? Ruin your brother's life? I said nothing. I'd heard this act before. The trembling voice, the teary guilt trip, the desperate play for sympathy. All over a house, she continued. A place you didn't even live in? No, I said. Over the fact that you sold it behind my back. Lied about it. And spent the money like it was yours. She started crying. Real tears? Crocodile? I honestly couldn't tell anymore. You're heartless, she sobbed. I carried you for 9 months. I raised you. And this is how you repay me. You're going to take everything from me. I closed my eyes. Her words hit hard, not because they were true, but because they were so familiar. She always pulled that line out when she needed me to fold. You didn't raise me alone, I said gently. Rosalind did a lot of the heavy lifting, and she's the one who trusted me to protect what she left. For the first time, Celeste didn't have a quick answer. I'll pay you back, she finally muttered. I just need more time. I could start with a few thousand next month, then more after I close the Parker listing. Just cancel this lawsuit nonsense. No, I said. If you want to fix this, you'll talk to Jasmine. You'll sign what she sends. With collateral. She gasped like I'd slapped her. Collateral? You want to take my house now? I want a guarantee, I said. No more promises. If you can't pay it back, the court will look at what you do have. That's not revenge. That's the law. She started crying harder, the kind of sobs that used to make me crumble as a kid. But this time, I didn't flinch. You made this mess, I said. And for once, you're going to clean it up. I hung up. Almost immediately, texts from Dante started rolling in. Seriously? You sent Mom some legal crap? You've lost it. You know the money's gone, right? It wasn't even that much. I needed that trip. Each message made my chest tighter. I scrolled up to those photos I'd once muted. Infinity pools, cocktails with tiny umbrellas, brand new headphones in first class. Once, they looked like luxury. Now, they looked like evidence. And then I saw it. A message from Dante weeks earlier. Mom said not to loop you in. You just overthink it. She had it handled. There it was. I snapped a screenshot, then opened our text thread and started collecting them all. Have you ever found out people you trusted were making big decisions about your life behind your back? Comment with a fire if you've ever felt betrayed by the people closest to you. The next night, I drove back to their house. Not to fight, but to confront the one person who still had the truth tangled in his hands. Dante opened the door, eyes wary. "Wow," he muttered. "You're brave showing up here after the grenade you just dropped." "Is Mom home?" "No. Showing a townhouse." "Good," I said, stepping past him. "I came to talk to you." We ended up in the kitchen, the same place where I used to sit with Grandma while she made cocoa and helped me with homework. "Lila," Dante said, arms folded. "If this is about you suing Mom, I already told you, it's pathetic. You have everything. You're acting like we robbed you at gunpoint." I didn't rise to it. "How long did you really know about the house?" I asked. He frowned. "What does that matter?" "It matters," I said. "You don't just wake up with a plane ticket to Bali." He looked away, and for the first time, he looked small. Cornered. "She told me months ago," he muttered. "Said you wouldn't understand. Said you'd make it complicated. That you always do." "And you believed her?" "I wanted to," he admitted. "She said she had the power of attorney. That it wasn't really illegal, just bending some stuff." "Did she ever say it might not be valid anymore?" "She hinted," he said. "Said title companies don't look too close. Said most of them just want clean paperwork, not lectures." My heart sank. "You realize," I said softly, "that's her admitting she knew it was wrong." Dante's eyes filled with something I hadn't seen from him in years. "Shame. I just wanted out," he whispered. "Out of my job. Out of my debt. Out of feeling like I was drowning. So I didn't ask questions. I just packed a bag." I nodded slowly, then pulled out my phone and opened our message thread. "I'm suing her," I said. "Not a threat. A fact. And if she drags you into it, if you lie for her, it'll get ugly." He looked like he might be sick. "Lila," he said, voice breaking, "you want me to testify against Mom?" "No," I said. "I want you to tell the truth." He rubbed his face. "If I send you the texts, tell Jasmine what I told you, can she keep me out of the worst of it?" "She can show you cooperated," I said. "But I'm done protecting everyone but myself." He nodded. "Fine. I'll send them. Not because I'm on your side. Because I'm tired of this crash I can't escape." As I walked out the door, my phone buzzed, a stream of screenshots, photos, forwarded messages. Everything I needed. In Part 5, the final chapter, the courtroom battle begins. Truth comes out. Lines are drawn. And for the first time in her life, Lila stops being the one who absorbs everyone else's damage. Don't miss the ending. By the time we got a court date, the story didn't feel like my story anymore. It belonged to the court docket, the judge, the paperwork with exhibits and case numbers. Jasmine sat beside me at the long wooden table, binder in front of her, calm as ever. Across the aisle, Celeste looked tight-lipped and pale, her nails tapping anxiously on the table. And behind her, Dante, slouched, small in a borrowed blazer that didn't quite fit, eyes glued to the floor. When the judge entered, I stood. My knees trembled once, then steadied. This wasn't about revenge. This was about truth. Jasmine started with the trust. Her voice was steady but sharp, like a knife wrapped in silk. "As you can see, Your Honor," she said, pointing to a highlighted section, "the trust names Lila Jameson as the sole beneficiary of the seaside property and the attached investment account. Upon Ms. Rosalind Jameson's death, the trust became irrevocable." The judge nodded, flipping through the paperwork. Celeste's lawyer tried to argue intent. That Rosalind had talked about helping the family. That the beach house wasn't really being used. But the judge didn't budge. Intent is clearly expressed here, he said, tapping the trust page. We don't guess what a person wanted when they wrote it down. Then Jasmine flipped to the power of attorney. This document granted Ms. Lane temporary legal authority, while Ms. Jameson was alive and incapacitated. But as stated here, the authority terminated upon death. And yet, Ms. Lane used it a full year after Rosalind passed to sell her granddaughter's inheritance. The judge adjusted his glasses, turning to Celeste. Ms. Lane, he said, were you aware your authority ended when your mother passed? Her lawyer jumped in. She's not a legal expert, Your Honor. It was a misunderstanding. Jasmine stood. Then allow us to hear it from her directly. On the stand, Celeste did what Celeste always does. She cried. She blamed her debts, the housing market, Dante's burnout. She said she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was trying to help. But then Jasmine handed her a printed screenshot. Do you recognize this? She asked. Celeste nodded slowly. It's a message you sent to your son, 3 weeks before the closing. It reads, technically these POA things have timelines, but no one checks. Title companies just want signatures, not a lecture on when Grandma died. Did you write that? Celeste blinked rapidly. I was venting. But you knew, didn't you? Jasmine pressed. You knew the authority was expired. Celeste didn't respond. The silence answered for her. Then it was my turn on the stand. I told them everything. The blue binder. The promises Rosalind made. The sickening moment I saw the sale papers without my name. Jasmine submitted Dante's texts, his photos, his confession that Mom had cut me out because she thought I'd say no. Dante even took the stand himself. He looked like he'd rather disappear, but he told the truth. I didn't know the law, he said. But I knew if it wasn't shady, Mom would have told Lila. She didn't. When the closing arguments ended, the judge left to deliberate. The silence that followed felt heavy, like a storm sitting just off the coast. Then he came back. And when he read his decision, my breath caught in my throat. He found Celeste had breached her fiduciary duty, used expired authority, and converted trust property for personal use. He quoted the trust word for word, held irrevocably for the benefit of Lila Jameson. He ordered her to repay the full market value of the property, plus interest, plus legal fees. Celeste's hand flew to her mouth. She looked like the floor had dropped out from under her. And when her lawyer asked about payment plans, hardship exceptions, protecting her home, the judge was gentle, but firm. She is subject to the same laws as anyone else, he said. Emotional justifications do not erase financial misconduct. In the hallway afterward, Celeste spun on me. Her mascara streaked. Her voice cracked like glass. Are you happy now? She hissed. I'll lose everything. And it'll be your fault. Your own mother. I looked her in the eye. No, I said. You lost everything the moment you sold something that didn't belong to you. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. Dante didn't say a word. He stood a few steps back, for once seeing the damage instead of defending it. What happens now? He asked quietly. Now, I said, we live with what we chose. Her house was sold 6 months later. Not by her. By the bank. The woman who built her career around open houses and glossy brochures was suddenly on the other side of a foreclosure sign. She moved into a small rental across town. Beige carpets. No pets. No view. Dante took extra shifts at the warehouse. No more DJs or beach bars. Just long hours and small dinners. We didn't suddenly become close. But sometimes, he sent a late-night text that reminded me of the boy I used to know. I get it now. Someone always pays. For a long time, it was you. I'm sorry. I stared at that text a long time before answering. I'm glad you see it. Keep going. As for me, I didn't run out and buy another beach house. I sat down with a financial planner. I opened an investment account in Rosalind's name, a safety net she'd wanted me to have, twice, and I started something small but meaningful. On Saturdays, I ran little workshops at the library about trust law, inheritance, financial boundaries, how to protect yourself from being guilt-tripped out of your future. People came. They nodded. They cried. They laughed. They saw themselves in the story I told. A story of someone who finally chose herself. Months later, a court therapist reached out. Family reconciliation, they called it. They asked if I wanted to sit down with Celeste and Dante. I almost said no. Then I thought about all the nights I laid awake wondering if I was the villain in her version of events. So I went. Celeste cried. Blamed the market. Blamed Grandma. Blamed me. She said I turned my back on her when she needed me most. But this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't smooth it over. I didn't absorb the guilt. I told my side. I told her how it felt to always be the one who got less because I was the one who could handle it. How lonely it was to be treated like a resource instead of a daughter. And for the first time, she said something real. I knew you'd be okay, she whispered. So I didn't think about how it would hurt you. It didn't undo what she'd done, but it helped me see it more clearly. Her selfishness came from weakness, not hatred. I told her I forgave her, but not the way she wanted. Forgiveness didn't mean letting her back into my life. It meant I stopped carrying her decisions on my back. I still set boundaries. Holiday texts instead of holidays together. I sent her info on credit counseling, then stepped back. Her work wasn't mine anymore. I started choosing me. On purpose. And if there's anything this whole thing taught me, it's that love and accountability are not opposites. You can care about someone and still refuse to let them steal from you. You can protect what someone left you, without letting anyone rewrite your story. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is finally stop being the one who quietly absorbs everyone else's damage. Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. If you've ever been the one who everyone assumes will just take it, I see you. And I hope you choose yourself, too.